Hello and welcome to a new video. I have recently gotten into Pokemon cards. Thankfully not too crazy, but I have been collecting a couple and having a bit of fun with it. So, in today's video, I wanted to decorate these binders that I have. I've seen a couple people on Instagram decorating their binders with their own Pokemon art, and I thought that would be really fun to do. I have these two binders here. As you can see, they also have these little key charms on them. I just wanted to put them on kind of to do with each one's colour. So this is my special big yellow one, so it's got a little Pikachu on it, and then this is my blue one, so a little Mantike. And I thought it would be cute to kind of keep it in theme with those, so have yellow Pokemon on this one and blue Pokemon on this one. I've already done some planning for them. This is my planning. I was originally going to do a Game Boy cartridge for this one. Because this is smaller, I kind of wanted to use it as like the test one, so I thought like a Game Boy cartridge would be cute, but because I have recently been doing like canvas Game Boy cartridges, I didn't want to do that. I wanted to do something different. But for this one, I am going with this design here because I really wanted to do something to do with Jolteon because they are my favourite evolution, and I was struggling to come up with ideas. Ultimately, I landed on this little sleepy kind of idea of a Jolteon with a Pikachu to tie in the little Pikachu charm. And I thought that would be really cute. I was going to do Dragonair for the blue one, but because of the Mantike charm, I decided to do something different. So I've got this design here. I also have a Darumaka design because I have another binder and that one's red, so I wanted to keep Darumaka for that binder. I guess we will start with this one. I probably need to take the cards out because I don't want to risk them getting dirty. This one initially was just for like my Animal Crossing cards, but then I did ultimately end up putting like some overflow Pokemon cards in here, so... oh, and One Piece. So, it does feel relevant to have to do card art for it. Yes, so... that's what we'll be doing in today's video. Like I said, I wanted to use the smaller blue one as a kind of practice one, and to start off I thought I'd even use the back of the binder because then if it looked horrible, the front of the binder would still be fine. And I initially started by using a normal like drawing pencil, but I couldn't really see it because this is a dark blue. So I found this pencil I have. It's a, and I'm sorry if I'm saying this wrong, it's a Carandash pastel pencil. I don't even know when I got this. Like it was years ago, which is why it looks so grimy and gross. But I'd never used it. And it worked perfectly for this, and it didn't like affect putting the paint pens on it at all because I was worried that it might like be oily or something, which would then like prevent the paint from going down, but it worked perfectly fine. And I liked the little sketch I did of a Remoraid because they are used when like evolving Mantikes into manatees or mantines, I can't remember what they're called. So I thought it would be appropriate to use one of them as a tester, and I am colouring it in with the Arrtx paint pens. And yeah, I really liked how it was working out. I was really scared to draw on this material because I wasn't sure how it would work, but it took it really nicely. And yeah, I went for like a kind of colourful 3D-ish look. Like I wanted it to not be flat 2D, which I later changed my mind on, but for now I really like how it looks. To make it stand out, I gave it like a pale yellow outline, and I really liked how it looked, so I was like, yeah, let's get started on the front cover. So obviously I started by taking out the first few cards because like the paint didn't bleed through the cover, but I really didn't want to risk anything because I thought that would just not be worth it. So for the front cover, I am now drawing a Mantike surrounded by Remoraids. I'm so glad that this pencil erases really nicely because I was struggling a bit with drawing him. And I have to say, I'm not too fond of the placement for this one. Like, I didn't plan it out very well, and the top remoraid is getting cut off a bit, which is annoying, but I was also being really lazy because I was like, this is my tester binder. It doesn't have to look amazingly perfect as long as it looks fine. So I did have to put several layers of paint down, not only because the surface is kind of strange, like it is a little plasticky, but also because it is a dark blue, so it was showing through the paint quite a bit. And I just tried to stick to the similar style that I had used on the back of the binder. For the remoraids, that was really easy because I basically just completely copied what I'd already done. But for the mantike, I was really struggling because it is a strange shape. And I really wanted to make it look interesting. And the pose I had chosen, I was like, this is just its belly. Like, this is kind of a bad pose, honestly, but it's so cute. I really wanted to do it. So I tried building it up with like shading, and I didn't know what I was doing because this is not exactly a colouring style that I typically use for Pokemon. Like, if you've seen my Pokemon art before, it's usually very flat and only has like 1 or 2 colours per area, per colour thing, you know, like it usually has the base colour and then a shadow. And I'm not really sure what I was doing with this one, which I think is pretty obvious because it changes quite a bit over the video. But yeah, like I said, this one was just my experimentation one, so that's what I used it for. I thought it was really cute to kind of theme the binders around the keychains I got, which also means, like, I don't know if I would have thought of doing mantike otherwise, and I think mantike is so adorable. The only reason I had the keychain is when I was younger, there used to be, I think they're basically gacha machines, but they're like the like blind bags, but they're the balls. And they used to be outside of a shop that I would go to all the time when I was younger, and we would just get a bunch of them. My brother managed to get a Kyogre. Like, I hope he still has it. I have no idea if he still has it. And I got like a Buizel, a Chatot. I got that legendary or that mystic. I can't remember what it's called, like Manphy or something. I don't know where it is, which makes me really sad. But like, I have 2 mantikes. I think I also got a Piplup at some point. And it makes me so sad because, like, there's nothing like that anywhere, at least that I can find in England anymore. Like, I wonder if it's maybe they weren't getting enough sales, or if people were like stealing them. But it just makes me so sad because I used to love that so much when I was younger, and now all they have is like off-brand things that I don't even know what they are, and I'm like, give me the Pokemon. I want more Pokemon. But so yeah, I was really happy that I still have a couple, and I think my mum still has the Chatot one because I gave it to her and she kept it on her phone all the time, which it made me so happy when I was younger. And I think she still has it. Yeah, so that's really cute. And yeah, so if I had the Piplup one, maybe I would have used that one on the binder, but I had the mantike one and I couldn't find the Piplup one. Anyway, enough of that. Back to the picture, because as you can see, I'm changing it. I was not happy with how I had done the like shading for the mantike because I wanted it to look round. It was just looking really weird, so I tried to do more blendy stuff, and I don't know how I feel about it. Like, when I was doing it for the video, when I was filming it, I kind of hated it, and it's still not my favourite. I don't know, but I think looking at it now, I do think I like it a bit more than I did, which is a good thing, I guess. I was thinking at one point of just like completely covering it and doing something else entirely. I think I would have to like paint the whole thing though. Like maybe if I used acetone or acetate or whatever the liquid is, maybe that would work, but that would also create such a mess, and then I don't know if it would like lift off the colour of the binder itself, so that would probably just not be worth it. But I don't know, maybe I like it. I don't like the shading so much, so I could always fix that, but actually also I don't know if I could anymore because I sealed it in with this, so I don't even know if I could fix it anymore. But I used this. It's supposed to seal in like acrylic stuff on just any surface. It's what I found people were using when I looked it up, because I didn't want to just leave the paint on the binder without any protection, because I think it would peel off. So I used this. Hopefully it's strong enough, hopefully it will work, but yeah, I don't know. It's fine so far. As first binders go, I think it's okay. It was very fun to do. It is strangely therapeutic, painting on things that you like shouldn't, or like, you know, normally don't. I think the Remoraid on the back is definitely my favourite. It was fun, it was good practice. And so now we are on to the big yellow one. This is the one where I wanted to have Jolteon and Pikachu kind of like they were sleeping against each other. I don't know if that's how it comes across, but I still think it is very, very adorable. After the first one, how the first binder turned out, I kind of wanted to go very, very simple with this one. I think having it be such a bigger picture helped as well. I'm not sure why, but it just felt nicer to do than the small Mantike one. I really enjoyed this piece, I think because I've drawn Pikachu and Jolteon before, whereas I'd never really drawn Mantike before, so I had a better idea of like how to draw them. And I wanted to add some like electric sparks coming off of them and little stars, and I just really like how it was looking so far. Then when it came to painting, I was like, oh, hang on. If it's bigger, it's going to use way more paint. So that was a little stressful because I had to do so many layers and it was pretty patchy. Like it took quite a few layers to get to a point where I was happy with it. And also then the fact that it is on yellow, I had to use different yellows so that they stood out from each other and from the background. And then I used oranges for shading, and initially it was looking very samey and I was not very confident about it. I was very worried about it. I also didn't like that the fluff around Jolteon's neck, I used a pink because I don't like using straight white, but it was looking very white at this point. It definitely looks better later when I add other colours, so that is another, like, trust the process. But yeah, I was getting kind of nervous about this piece because it is so big, but I end up loving it. I really, really like how it looks, especially because after I do all the colouring in, I add an outline, which really, really helps. But yeah, it was just really fun doing these pieces. They were really fun. It was nice to do something different on like a surface that I've not really used before, and just mix things up, because I always use paper, as I'm sure a lot of you are aware. So it's fun experimenting with different things. I stuck to the kind of like two-tone per colour thing that I mentioned that I usually did, because I didn't like how the shading on Mantike looked, and that looks so much nicer in my opinion. I really, really like how it worked for these. I think because they are such like simple drawings and designs, it just looks a lot nicer. And also it just suits my style a bit more. It's what I'm used to doing, so I think that's another reason why it turned out better, is because like I've had a lot more practice doing this style. I added a red outline to the pieces where like I wanted within the picture to stand out, so you could see I didn't do any outline around them on the outside because I was planning on using a bright yellow white outline for that. So I used the red to kind of distinct their details inside each other and also then make Pikachu stand out from Jolteon. And I then also used this red to change the sparks coming off of them because I didn't like the orange that they originally were, because I thought that it just kind of blended in a little bit. It didn't stand out enough, and I really love how it turned out. It's kind of hard to see because it's so big, but it is massive. I really love the whole yellow and yellow and yellow vibe, and then you've got like a couple pieces of colours that stand out. I just really like keeping it within a colour scheme, and even though the background is yellow, I still think they stand out enough, probably because of the outline. But I love how this one turned out. I'm really happy with it. And once again, I used the spray to seal it in, and yeah, that's this one done. So as I mentioned at the beginning of the video, I also have a red binder that I was planning to do a Darumaka piece on. And initially I wasn't going to do that in this video, but after doing the other two, I was like, I really want a Darumaka one, so I did end up doing it. I'm really glad I did because I think it ended up being my favourite one in this video. So if you don't know me, I am perhaps a little obsessed with Darumaka. He might be my favourite Pokemon. I don't want to say ever because like I have loads of Pokemon I love and I do typically switch between them. But he is definitely a consistent, and recently I have been just wanting loads of like merch of him. So I had to paint him on this red one. And I have a bunch of Darumaka cards that I have since moved into this one. I say a bunch, it's only like 8 and then a Darmanitan. That's the problem. I love Darumaka, but I love his evolved form too, but I don't know his name as much because I don't really bother with it. But yeah, so this is kind of like the Darumaka case. Obviously it's going to have other cards in it as well, not just Darumaka, but it is like the vibe. And colouring him, fun, but my lord, there's a lot of surface that needs covering in this one, or on this one. Especially because I decided I wanted the background to be fire, so there's so much colouring in and it needed several layers. Again, as you can see, I decided to do a different colour for his body, which I way prefer. It's just so much brighter and I really love it. So yeah, because the background was so daunting, I busted out the acrylic marker refills from an Ohuhu video that I did recently, because I was like, I don't want to just completely use up one of my pens. Like, that would be horrible. I might as well use the refill because it's so much easier to just pour it onto the book and then spread it with a paintbrush. And my lord, it saved so much time, and after several coats it looks a lot nicer because it's very patchy at the moment. So then I was just adding shadows to Darumaka to just make him look better, and I really like how it was looking, obviously because he's so cute and I love him so much. And then adding in some more flame details, and I just think this piece is really funny. I just love the idea, like, I know he's not doing anything, he's just stood there, but I really love the idea of him just stood in fire, in hell, you know, like he's just like, yeah, I live here, I vibe here. This is my natural setting. I'm cool with it. I don't know. I just think he's adorable. I love him. I recently started a Pokemon Black and White Nuzlocke with the one rule that I have to get a Darumaka. Like, it's my own Nuzlocke. Like, I can make my own rules. And honestly, I only even started the Nuzlocke because I was like, I want to get Darumaka. Because he's so cute. He's just a little ball, a little fire demon ball. Like, how can you not love him? He's so funny. Yeah, so I was just really happy to have this massive piece of him. It is just like a massive canvas, basically. I used purple to line his features a bit on his face, which I really liked how the purple looked with all the pictures. So I used it for the stars and the sparkles in the background, and I think it makes like a really nice balance. And then of course I outlined him with an off-white again, and he just stands out really nicely. I added some other sparkles to the background, and I love how he looks. I think he's adorable. He's just so big. As much as I loved the Jolteon and Pikachu one, I think this one is my favourite. Like, come on. It's Darumaka, and like, I have a problem, so of course he's my favourite. And then obviously once again I sealed it in, you know. So then of course this binder, how sad, it doesn't have a keychain because I don't have a Darumaka keychain. So I decided to kind of like sculpt a really lazy one. Like, this was for another video that isn't out yet. I don't know when it's even gonna be out, where I was using air dry clay, and I thought, why not like sculpt something of Darumaka for it, so then I could have like my own keychain for the binder. And so I made this little ball one, which I think is like his sleeping mode, and then I also have these like little wooden keychains that I thought I could just like add his eyebrow pieces to, and have like another lazy Darumaka keychain, and then whichever one I like I would attach to the binder. And this was really fun because now I have more Darumaka stuff. You know, I left them for a week to dry. I painted them white so that any pen that I use on them would be super vibrant, and also because this is air dry clay, I found that when you put, you know, paint on it, it kind of reactivates it and can muddy up the colours. So I thought using white paint would protect my pens from that, because as soon as it's dry, it's a hardened layer kind of thing. I used too much white paint, so as you can see I'm just using the excess on some extra key rings so that I can do other things on them. And then once the paint is dry, I was gonna go in with colouring them in, but the chains were bugging me so much, and so I had the bright idea to remove them. And I don't know why I didn't do that when I was painting them white, because it really helped. So I was just doing one section at a time, so while they were drying I was also working on the other keychains. Which I was in the mood for Tamagotchi because I had recently watched a video on them. So I'm doing Pokemon and Tamagotchi keychains at the same time, which, I don't know, it's fun. I love being able to just make whatever I want. And so as these pens are just like super wet, I was just going back and forth, slowly building each one up, and it's kind of a little all over the place in that regard. But for the Tamagotchi, I am doing, oh my god, what's his name? I'm doing Mamechi and Kabutochi, I forget. I'm doing like one of his updated versions because I think it's really cute. And I just really like how they're like these little scribble keychains, like they're really messy. I had also been making some like coasters that I'd just been doing like a similar thing on, because I just thought it would be really cute. I love the vibes of Tamagotchi. I haven't had one since I was younger. I want one so bad, but I just know that like it's gonna be a waste of money for me, because I'm like gonna get it, gonna use it for like a day or two, maybe 3, who knows, and then I'm just gonna let it die probably. It's probably not gonna do anything, and I think I want it more for the nostalgia than I do for like actually wanting to use it. So I've been really good and not giving in to the wanting to buy it mood, which upsets me. It makes me sad, but also I'm like, good. Have some restraint for once in your life. I have been tempted and thinking like maybe I would just make an air dry clay one, so then I've got like the physical Tamagotchi, because I think they're really cute, without then having to spend like a ton of money on it and worrying about killing it. So who knows, maybe I'll do something like that in the future. It would probably be a long time in the future because I am so busy. I've got so much going on that I don't even have time for anything. But maybe if I get time, I will do that at some point. But yeah, let me know if that's something you would be interested in. I don't know what I'd do for the rest of the video, because that would be quite a short video. So if you have any suggestions for that, let me know. I didn't want the keychains to be one-sided, so on the back of them I just did some more doodles like I'd been doing on the front, and I drew these little Tamagotchi devices. They look very silly, but that's part of the charm. I love the silly doodle vibes, you know, where it's like a kid drew it kind of thing. I really, really love that style, and I don't know what that vibe is called. So finishing off the diary marker stuff, I am adding this purple line art, and the pen was way too juicy on the little guy, so he's kind of drowning in purple. So I do fix that later, but right now he looks a mess. And I do kind of leave it a little splotchy. And then on the back of the keychain, the flat keychain diary marker, I'm painting it red, so then I can give him his little back stripe, and I just really, really love how it looks. I think it's adorable. So now after all that, obviously I want to protect all of the items a bit, so I'm using resin. Now resin can be really, really dangerous, so if you're going to use it, first of all, make sure you have a parent or guardian present if you are underage, if you're a child. Secondly, wear gloves, because this could be really dangerous stuff. And thirdly, make sure you have a mask on and the room you are in is well ventilated. For this, I had a mask on and I had my windows wide open. You just got to be careful with this stuff. It is really, really dangerous. Typically when using resin, the pieces can get air bubbles. How you can get rid of that is by kind of like tapping it on the ground and raising the air bubbles to the surface, and then using a lighter just gently over the top. You don't have to get too close. It kind of like burns the bubbles away. And I was using like a regular lighter initially, but that was like burning the glove and my finger. So I went and grabbed this like mini blowtorch that my dad just has. And that worked perfectly. But that's another thing you have to be really careful of. Make sure you are being safe. I have since invested in just a regular long lighter because I can't believe I didn't already have one. Like, I thought I had one, but I didn't. But yeah, it was all working out well. I was just layering everything up, letting it cure for ages. Obviously, I cut that part out because you don't need to know how long this took. It took forever. But yeah, everything turned out nicely. There are a little like imperfections because I'm not the best when it comes to resin, but for the most part, everything turned out well. So now it was just down to chaining everything back up, putting it all back on its keychains, and yeah, I am super happy with how everything turned out. It turned out way more crafty at the end, but I just thought that would be a cute little thing to add on the end because I was making them anyway. I wanted a keychain for my diary marker one, so yeah, just a little extra crafts at the end. I'm thinking because the ball chain is a lot easier, I will probably attach this one to the binder, and then I just have another diary marker keychain that will probably go up on my cork board, so then I can just see him again. I have diary marker everywhere, it's kind of crazy. Yeah, okay, so I think I want to attach this one. Cute, see? And now we have a little diary marker on my diary marker case. I love it. The other pieces turned out really nicely as well. They are just done. And then I've got the coasters as well that I don't know what to do with because I actually didn't need any more coasters. I've got plenty of coasters already. So these will probably just like go up on my shelf as like little art pieces. The other keychain is already on my bag, so that's why it's not here. Let's see. Put this one here. Scoot. And my burn, my shame. I'm always so annoyed with that little burn. It just looks horrible. That was a fun video. I really liked just doing little crafty stuff. Still mixed on this one, but I also kind of like it. I don't know. These two I love. The simpleness, the simplicity of them really worked. Like, that's definitely where it should have gone with Mantike, but I guess I was just worried because, you know, it's just his belly on show. I really enjoyed doing this. I love how they turned out. Now they are just like a bit more interesting because previously they were kind of boring. I hope you enjoyed watching this. I mentioned that I wanted to do some, like, I think this was in a previous video, that I wanted to do some like card art because I'm not like a crazy collector. I've just collected a few cards. So obviously I've got like a lot of gaps between like evolutions and stuff, or Pokemon I just want in general. For a video, I was thinking maybe making those cards myself, you know, and just like slowly filling it in. Again, really busy, so I don't know that it would happen soon. But it is something that I really want to do, and I think it would be really fun to share on the channel. But yeah, for now, just doing the binder art was a lot of fun, something I've never really done before. So I really hope you enjoyed it. Thank you so much for watching this video, and of course I want to give a massive shout out to my patrons: Dispe, Grimclow, The Waffle of Life, Non-Toxic, Saint Nick's, LP, Kira May, Kay, Joanna, Mila, Pretty Rotten, Joanna Snake Moon, Humble Frogs, Local Fishkeeper, Mold Ghoul, Fararware, Sun Arts, Molly Marula, Scout Radley, Sammy Bear 127, Kenzania, Arrow, Charlie, Malorus, Cindy King, Art by Lavender, Angela's Weird Tales, Rainbow Tea, Breaded Nuggets, Learns, Human Eye, The Moth Bug, Nox, Catbird House, The Tormented Shadow, Sweet and Hopeless, Pocket, Jordan's Tiny Planet, The Coffee Rain, Black Jackal Art, Leela Loves You, A. Wendu, Olivia Gadbor, Cheris Needham, Binixery, Cyrus Orion, Mottled Pixel, Malbon Designs, Gamut Girl, Solar Tortoise, Auden, Red S. Lily, Haley, Sienna G, Lady Ratbird, Fia, Greenfinch G Illustration, Lynn, Cody, Kaleidoscope Arm, Cloud, Clearfix, Redders, Zeutka, Beetle Ghost, Melisandra Sinclair, Bria Washington, Hurrier, June, Dakota Garcia, Manon, Lily Likes Art, Rona, Levi, Kira's Cozy Corner, Tink, Daniel McGuinness, Janine, Dios Live, Ella Chenchuo, K2, Flossie, Stegosaurus, Yoinks, Stoyan, Spooky Chloe, Starry Fern, Kiki, Nuclear Nail Bomb, P. Right Stuff, Raig Norway, JGP, Spaceman Theo, Slurp, Nosebridge, Cherry, In the Clouds, Nowil, Saturn, Saturn's War.jpg, Bunny B, Samara, One Joltaire, Lee H, Jen B. Burning, Fenray, Mon, Kaino K, Destiny, Kaya D, Jamie, Riggs M23, Lolly, Mel Vogel, Lily Lelkels, Lex, Vienne, Dean Marie, Frillian, Valania Madeira, Arkangle, Cindy Flint, Till Arts, Idea Fox, Blackout 1706, Shin, Natasha Tench, Sarah Ellis, Nylod Nam, Ouija Art Studio Jenny, Stamax, Buaco Campbell, Sweet Dynamite, YX Ghosty XY, Pyro, Morgan, ACL Art, Tiara Sons, Adam, Katie, Kara, Creature 22, Bailey Montalongo, Moss Tiefling, Nicole Kane, Savvy, Dom, Simbi Zombie, Nadine, Naomi Daniela Quind Courier, Sarah Carvel Hayes, Eden Laura Gaze, Shelby, Dino Dwiff, and Cusia. Thank you guys so much for all of your support, and I should hopefully have another video out for you guys soon, so I will see you then.